Each Boxing Day, Sydney Harbour undergoes a nautical eruption. A sports-mad nation looking on, a race revered alongside the greatest and toughest ocean challenges on the planet. For 80 years, the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race has been shaped by brave sailors, legendary yachts and the unbreakable spirit of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, the custodians of this iconic event since inception. It all started in 1945, as 9 yachts journeyed south. An adventurous summer cruise soon transformed into a daunting challenge. 6.5 days later, the smallest yacht, Rani, took line and handicap honours, affirming her skipper, Captain John Illingworth, as the father of modern ocean racing in Australia. In 1946, Jane Tate was one of 2 women to compete for the first time. Her legacy today, a perpetual trophy for first female skipper over the line. 65-footer Morna led the charge with 3 straight line honours wins, adding 4 more when renamed Kurrawa 4. Then came Freya, setting the standard for greatness with 3 consecutive overall wins from 1963 to 65. The 70s consolidated a new trend of foreign raiders. The era of the great Maxis had arrived. American Jim Kilroy with Kialoa 3 smashed the race record in 1975. Built for the Admiral's Cup, Love and War was also turning eyes. She claimed overall honours in 74 and again in 78. The first all-women crew shifted race history in 1975. Skipper Vicky Willman redefined who could and would take on the great race. 1982 saw a dramatic finish. Apollo and Condor of Bermuda drifted up the Derwent, Condor home by just 7 seconds. Nothing symbolises endurance quite like the Sid Fisher ragamuffin story. Sid's first Hobart in the early 60s, a first line honours win in the late 80s, and in 2015 at 88 he became the oldest competitor. The 1990s saw some arduous conditions and changed the race forever. The 50th anniversary fleet in '94 attracted a record 371 starters. Local Maxi, Tasmania, claimed the state's first and only line honours win. A new titan arrived after the turn of the century. Bob Oatley's Wild Oats 11 dominated across the next 2 decades, securing a staggering 9 line honours wins. But her supremacy was under siege from Jim Clark's American superstar, Comanche. Built for speed and breaking records, she did just that in 2017, scorching home in 1 day, 9 hours and 15 minutes. The prize Tattersall Cup for overall winner cemented Matt Allen's Ichiban in the race's pantheon. 3 overall victories from 2017 to 21 equalled Freya and Love and War. Hobart's renowned welcome reached a crescendo when local yacht Alive, skippered by Duncan Hine, claimed overall victory in 2018 and again in 2023. More recently, Dr. Sam Haynes and his TP52 Celestial etched their own comeback story. A first overall in 2022 and a stunning victory last year on Celestial V70. After 3 seconds, Christian Beck's Law Connect finally broke through in 2023 after a 2-boat war with Andrew Comanche. Law Connect then successfully defended her title last year. Across 9 decades, this race has inspired all those who dare to face the fierce Tasman Sea. From pioneers to modern gladiators. Every story, every milestone, every finish has led to this moment. Welcome to the 80th Rolex Sydney Hobart. Chilly Hobart at the moment, just a light breeze prevailing. There's the CSIRO vehicle, ship, on the right hand side, and we are all set. Here's dock here will be crammed with about 80 yachts over the next few days, and at the moment we've had a few retirements, but the big news is that the leaders have just entered Bass Strait. Master Lock Comanche and Law Connect are neck and neck, but we've also had some retirements, and disappointingly one of the Super Maxis, Wild Thing 100, is out of the race, but we'll have more on that in a moment. Let's have a look at the retirements so far, and remember that there were 128 boats starting. Yendis didn't actually make the start, and R1 is out with a broken forestay. That's the Open 60. Hutchie's Yeah Baby, a headstay damage. Inshuk, the double-hander with rudder issues. Trouble and Strife is out with engine issues. White Noise, rigging. Wild Thing 100, huge disappointment, a heartbreak for Grant Warrington. And also Troubadour, retired with crew illness. Well, joining me now is the voice of the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race, Peter Shipway. 31 races you've been down, and many line honours and handicap wins, but Pete, disappointing to see those retirements, but the leaders entering Bass Strait.
Yes, it's been a tough night. Good morning, Gordon, for everyone out there, really, and nothing is more disappointing than pulling out of the Hobart race. The preparation that goes in it, it's probably a year's preparation, and now there's got about half a dozen boats are out already. And the conditions are going to be tougher today too, as the leaders are into Bass Strait. They've got really nice conditions this morning, but it's going to get rougher today. I think the next 20 hours is going to be a really tough test for the big boys, and also for the boats further up the coast. So the Master Lock Comanche, Law Connect, both in Bass Strait. The remainder of the fleet strung out between really Gaybo Island and then north to Jarvis Bay. So it's a big spread already in the fleet. The leaders got 370 miles to go to the finish, nowhere near halfway at this stage.
Well, we have been able to make contact, Shippo, with Chris Nicholson, who's the tactician on board Law Connect, and they were just closing on Gaybo Island when we received this early morning report from Chris Nicholson. And of course, Law Connect, the Line Honours defending champ.
Hey Chris, pretty good night, eh?
Yeah, we had some really good moments. Got pretty close once or twice with Comanche. Lost a little bit in one of the last kind of takeouts for sure, but we're both been striking distance.
Yeah, not much in it at the moment. So, what do you think is going to happen today?
Well, now we're kind of not far off Green Cape, so they're launching into the Bass Strait. And we've been looking at it all week, and there's going to be more breeze and waves again. So we're just trying to, we're just considering jumping ahead, like 2 sail changes, where we'll have a combination where we can go to our smaller jib in the one move rather than getting down. Because, we've been losing distance. We had a difficult sail change to our J1 compared to Comanche, where like a 20-minute change at like a 5. So, thinking about doing that, trying to jump ahead in that regard.
Team looks like they've done a good job throughout the night, steering with no instruments. Wouldn't be easy.
Yeah, forgot to mention that we haven't had wind instruments since the start. It was a bit of a horror show. I was totally looking forward to daylight so we could see the sails again, because you haven't getting these wobbles. You don't know if you're high or low at times, and the feel was okay, but you want to make it up with the numbers.
I guess it's probably like someone driving their car down the road with a blindfold on.
Exactly, absolutely, and definitely with blurred vision at least.
All right, I know you've got a lot on your mind. I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Yes, Peter. Now those conditions look quite calm, quite benign, didn't they? Really, the boat wasn't bumping and lumping through the seaway, but things are going to get worse.
Yeah, the leading group have got into Bass Strait around Green Cape. They're in a westerly. The fleet behind them are more in a southwesterly or southerly, but it's going to get back into the south, so they're going to be bumping and banging. But what Chris didn't mention there was they've had more dramas on Law Connect. They're about 6 miles at the moment behind Comanche, and they're about another 6 miles ahead of Scallywag. But what happened overnight with Law Connect, they broke their main sheet at one stage. That took about 20 minutes to repair. I mean, that's the rope that controls the mainsail, and that would be hard to get under control. You'd probably have to drop the main to re-lead the main sheet. Then they broke their jib halyard twice, and they've got no instruments. So they're flying blind, so they've had a little bit on, and that's, I think, probably a little reason why they've dropped a little bit behind Master Lock Comanche. But at the moment, about 10 minutes ago, they're about 6 miles behind, almost on a direct course behind Master Lock Comanche. Scallywag in...
Let's have a look at the graphic of the line on it.
Okay.
That'll give us a good idea of exactly where these maxis are situated.
Yeah, well, there's the leaderboard. Law Connect's Scallywag, they're about 6 miles behind Law Connect. Lucky doing very well, the 90-footer from the United States. She was here formerly as Rambler 88. She's raced once before in this race. And then Palm Beach 11, not enjoying these tough upwind conditions. You'd have to say that. She is about 18 miles, 16 miles, even more behind the race leader. Then Celestial V70, last year's handicap winner. She is again leading at the moment on handicap. URM, one of the favourites for handicap. She's second on the handicap list, and Lucky is third. Then Money Penny from Western Australia doing very well. No Limit and Callisto. That's the top 10 on the leaderboard, and I think everyone would expect at the moment that the big boats are featuring in the handicap honours, but long way to go. They're not even to halfway, as we said earlier. So I still think the little boats have still got a chance, or the smaller rating boats have still got a chance to win the race overall and take the Tattersall Cup.
Well, one of those boats you speak of, the TP52 Highly Sprung, Mark Spring, is doing quite well from the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. We received some onboard footage from Highly Sprung. I think this just around Montague Island, Peter.
Yeah, it's a bit bouncy, and they're really hard on the wind. The leader's got a bit cracked early in a westerly, but as I said, these boats are in a southwesterly or southerly, still a bit bouncy. It looks just like on coming up to Sunrise there, but they've still those boats got still 500 miles to go, a long way to go. They're still probably 2 to 3 days out. The leaders are probably another 24, 30 hours out, I guess. So we won't see any boats finishing today, that's for sure.
Well, the huge disappointment for Grant Warrington. He's put so much into the campaign. The winner of the Noakes Gold Coast race this year, they finished third over the line last year and third on handicap. They had high hopes. These weren't their conditions, and sadly it hasn't worked out for Grant Warrington. Wild Thing 100, let's hear from the skipper.
This morning about 3:30 we were trying to repair a problem with a runner. And we got that fixed, but we just weren't happy with the setup, and we kept breaking runner tails, and we had some other little rigging issues as well, so conditions were pretty testing, and we'd lost quite a lot of time in trying to fix those problems, so we decided it was prudent to pull out of the race and go back to Sydney. So a lot of effort. You know, it's a tough race, isn't it? It's something that pushes the limits of technology and people's endurance, and unfortunately it wasn't to be our year. I can't remember the last time we had to pull out of the race, a long time ago, so it's very disappointing for the crew and everyone that's helped us get here. So anyway, we'll have to just bring on the new year and see what happens.
Yeah, good luck to Grant. I think the motto on board that boat is, if we're still floating, we keep going, but that's a huge blow for him. Last year they had mainsail damage, Peter, but still third across the line, so to have to pull out at this stage, that really is heartbreaking.
Well, you can read the disappointment there on Warro's face. It's shattering, and you know the effort that goes into any boat, but especially a maxi, to get it on the start line and then to be out of the race. They 3:30 this morning they retired, so very disappointing for Grant and his crew.
Back in 2023, the boat was 80 feet. It was Stefan Racing, and they actually increased the length of the boat to 100 feet. They had a smaller rig, but they borrowed the mast, the reserve mast, for Wild Oats 11, and actually sailed that from Sydney on board the boat back to Brisbane. And then with this taller rig, it's all come unstuck for them. But we saw them just after the start yesterday. Things seem to be going quite reasonably for Wild Thing 100. Just in the harbour, around the starting area, and then away they went. And Georgia, his daughter, on board as well.
Tactician Nigel Abbott on his first Hobart race. Nigel, a real character, got Keegan York, Australian 18-foot skiff champion, on board. That's
Dave
just lining
Turton,
there, Dave
the
Turton,
navigator.
just lining up for the start there. And they had a very good crew, but disappointment. The runner is the wire and the rope that controls the mast. It tensions the forestay, tensions the mast. If you break that or you have trouble with that, there's no way you can save the mast, really, unless you come home. And they've obviously tried to fix it, but the loads on those runners and the winches are extraordinary. And they've obviously worked hard to try and get it, but if you can't have it working at 100% efficiency, it's a real risk to carry on. That's obviously what Grant felt, and they had to retire this morning.
Yeah, well, they had some reaching sails, some downwind sails, especially made by Evolution Sails in New Zealand. So much effort has gone into this campaign, and yeah, finally for this to happen overnight. And of course, if we go back to 2003, Warrow took line honours in Scandia, but then in 2004 things went horribly wrong, Peter, and this article by Amanda Lullen in the Daily Telegraph in Sydney shows exactly what happened in 2004. They had to abandon ship and Scandia finished upside down.
Yes, they broke the ram that controls the canting keel, and the ram broke, and subsequently the keel broke off. As you can see, the boat floating upturned there with a rudder without a no keel. So as the photos show dramatically, they were in the life raft. They were about 90 miles northeast of Tasmania, and they fortunately, the crew were all rescued, and they towed the boat home upside down. They went out and rescued it.
You were on Love and War in that race.
Yeah, it was a tough race, another tough race. We keep saying that every year with Hobart races, but strong sou'westers. We got into Bass Strait, and it seemed to last for weeks, the breeze. But we heard the chilling news over the radio that the boat was in trouble, and then it had capsized. And boy, you don't want to hear those sort of messages. But fortunately, all was well that ended well for them.
And it emphasises the responsibility of the skipper as well,
yeah,
as far as the safety of the boat and the crew is concerned. Grant Warrington saw the situation. Apparently the ram, the canting keel was jammed, and he could see that the boat was going to flip over. Yeah. And made the decision to go straight to the life raft.
Yeah, I think they realised that the keel was going to break off and nothing else they could do but jump in the life raft.
Okay, well, we saw an exciting start on Sydney Harbour yesterday. It was gloomy, quite misty on the harbour, not as many spectators out as we had hoped, but certainly it was a great go with the big boys, the 100 metres, cracking it. And again, Law Connect stealing the honours, as they've done over the last 2 years. All Australian states are represented, 66 from New South Wales, 15 from Queensland and Victoria, 11 from Tasmania, 4 South Australia and 4 from Western Australia. The gun goes, the smoke billows.
Tony Mudd has done it again on Law Connect. He's got the jump on Master Lock Comanche, but it's tight, very tight.
There is so much going on at the other start lines. It's so crowded. There was only 14 boats on the first start line. Here it's just, so close, so many boats.
And it's all Law Connect at the moment as they race towards the turning mark.
Master Lock Comanche was able to just surge through into Law Connect, but weren't able to get past them.
These conditions are certainly made for Law Connect, a great seaboat in the bash down the coast.
See Master Lock Comanche trying to put the bow down and get further to leeward of Law Connect.
And we're approaching this turning mark.
Yeah, but it's Law Connect has got the honours to be first around the turning mark and first to reach out to sea.
It
Master
has.
Lock trying to get up inside Law Connect there. Oh, it's a bit bouncy. You can see the waves already coming through the heads.
Things are looking good. I think everyone's soaking up the downwind while they can.
Wild Thing 100 in 6th place around the mark, followed by URM Group and No Limit.
And they've run out a little bit of breeze because there's so many boats there.
And you can see them just dropping back a little bit further.
Here come the back of the fleet now, off the back starting lines. So Tony Mudd has done it again for Christian Beck. First to see and points a bow towards Hobart. Can she retain that lead? Well, there's a long way to go.
Yes, well, 128 boats started because Yenders pulled out before the start line. They had some sort of rigging problem. But Peter, the RolexSydneyHobart.com, the RolexSydneyHobart.com website is the way to follow this race. You can follow us, CYCA TV, of course, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but RolexSydneyHobart.com. And we have the famous race tracker. And I think it's time for you to show your expertise on the race tracker and let's see where these leaders are positioned at the moment.
I think I'll rather be in Bass Strait than try and work this tracker, but it is a fantastic tool for anyone watching the race. There's a tracker that gives you all the standings of all the divisions on line honours, on handicap, on PHS, and all the divisions. So this is what we're seeing now, that the 4 boats are in Bass Strait, led by Masterlock Comanche. She is at the moment 24 miles south of Gaybo Island, leading by 5 miles to Law Connect, and then another about 7 miles to SHK Scallywag, and Lucky is the 4th boat already in Bass Strait. And then east of Gaybo Island, Palm Beach 11 just about to come in, and then Celestial about another 10 miles astern. She'll be next into Bass Strait. But there's you can see Palm Beach just east there of Gaybo Island. That's Gaybo Island there. That is the entrance to Bass Strait. And they're sailing a course for about 200 degrees, so they're still in a southwest or a west-southwester, but the breeze is going to head them as they get further down, and it's going to be pretty bumpy.
Pete, can we just work our way back behind Palm Beach and find Celestial V70?
Yep,
there they are.
There she is.
So they would be close to entering Bass Strait.
She's southeast of Green Cape by 15 miles. Yep.
And every yacht has to report in at Green Cape.
They do.
If you don't report in, you're in danger of being penalised or disqualified.
And when you report in, you've got to make sure that you've got to report in that the engine is working, the crew are fit, all of those parameters that come into it, that the radio is working. Otherwise, you are not allowed to proceed. And that came about after the tragic 1998 race.
Well, Peter, we were able to make contact with Sam Haynes, the Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, on Celestial V70 this morning. So it's over to the Commodore.
Hi, this is Sam here from Celestial V70. We're just out on the Narooma coastline, going past Twofold Bay, I suppose, somewhere like that. The night was fairly long, rough, very bumpy. Quite a sea slate running with this southerly, and the tide is kicking up the swell. Yeah, we made it through okay. Quite a few sail changes, reefs and things like that, in and out. But all in all, travelling quite well. Crew's going well, and the boat's going nicely out here. But yeah, it's nice to be through the dark night and into this beautiful morning on the New South Wales coast. Back beautiful boat. And you can see it's still quite a chop running, a lot of bounce. Anyway, we've probably got about another 40 miles or 30 miles to Green Cape, and we're start taking on Bass Strait. Cheers.
Well, you can see the conditions weren't that bad. The sea wasn't up too much there, but it's going to get a little bit worse today. But anyway, they are the handicap leader at the moment, Celestial V70. They won last year. Lucky is second on corrected time with URM, and then Masterlock Comanche. So all the big fellas leading on handicap at this early stage, but Celestial's still got 400 miles to go.
And Peter, Sam Haynes is one of 3 Commodores who's actually Commodore in the job right now, who actually came through and won the race on handicap.
That's right. Merv Davey did it first in 1949 on the steel yacht Trade Winds that he designed and built all those years ago. She was an interesting vessel, but Merv was Commodore at the time of winning in 49. And then Robert Crichton Brown in 1970 won on Pasha, later became Sir Robert Crichton Brown. So he was the second Commodore to win while in office. And, of course, last year, Sam, the third Commodore.
Can I tell you a little story on Merv Davey?
I could tell you a lot of stories about Merv, but you tell me yours. Might not be able to go to air, but you tell me yours.
He had the mast of Tradewind in his backyard on some trestles, and he was a smoker, and he was smoking in bed, fell asleep, and the pillow caught on fire. Anyway, he woke up in a quite a traumatic state, threw the pillow out the window, and then went back to sleep. Probably had another ciggy as well. Next morning he woke up, looked out the window to check the pillow, and guess what? The charcoal remains of the mast. That's all that was left. The pillow was half there, but the mast was gone. But he came through.
God, you made that up. That couldn't be right.
Well, I tell you what.
No one's around to verify it now, though, but I'll stick with it. That's a good story.
It would not have happened to the Commodore, Sam Haynes, because he doesn't repair masts. He's a non-smoker, and one of his bulldogs from the Sydney Bulldog Clinic certainly would have sounded the alarm. Over to Evie Hazeldine.
I'm here with the Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, Dr. Sam Haynes. Thank you for joining me. What does the 80th edition of the Rolex Sydney Hobart mean to the club?
Yeah, it's a fantastic anniversary year. We have a higher number of entries than what we'd normally expect just for a general year. More internationals, 14 for this year's event, and we also have a lot more interest, I guess, from the media and so forth, just because, you know, it's a bigger event than normal.
Yeah, we've definitely noticed that with quite an increase in female participants in the race this year. 165 females in the race, and 14 of those are owner-skippers as well. Yeah. The resurgence of women in the race and the building up of that, what part did the club play in being able to build that ocean racing female presence?
It's part of our strategy to try and increase female participation. You know, the sport itself has been heavily male-dominated for a long time, but there's a lot of very successful female skippers and sailors, and we can see obviously the quality of our fleet. There's plenty there. We're just trying to build that and build more female participation in crews, but also owning boats and skippering them. It's good to see that as well.
You've been very successful in recent years, winning twice overall. What would it mean to win a third time?
Well, look, it would put me in that elite, group of people that have won 3 times. It's not a large group, and also as serving Commodore, there's only been 2 serving Commodores that have actually won the race once they've been in the role, no one's done it twice. But to say all that, you have to win it, and there's a long way to go before you can actually start, looking at your chances.
The club will be adding another event to its calendar next year in 2026, the Trans-Tasman Yacht Race. What have preparations looked like as Commodore for the debut of that race?
Yeah, look, the Trans-Tas, it's a race that we'll be holding every 2 years. Our partner in this, finishing partner is the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, fantastic place to finish. There's a festival at the time that the race yachts will be coming in with a staggered start and a compressed finish time, a little bit like the Transpac does. The preparations for it, we've got some really good entries, 100-footer, we've got some of the really good TPs in it. But as years go by, this race will build. It's a great opportunity to be able to sail in company over to New Zealand. So if you're looking at a cruiser racer, for instance, wanting to go to the South Pacific at that time of year, it's an awesome time to go. It's one of these things where we've got a new trophy, the Southern Cross Cup for it, which will be hotly contested over the years.
Yes, and Sam Haynes in Celestial V70. That's the Willow, the former Willow. It's been loaned by Jim Cooney and Samantha Grant, and they are the defending overall champion. We're looking at the main bulk of the fleet here now, Peter Shipway, and there's quite a gathering close to the run line.
Yes, coming down south from Jarvis Bay right down to Eden, really. The bulk of the fleet are all there, as you say, Gordon. Breeze is moderate. I've got readings from Montague Island, which is about halfway down that list of boats. It's only got southwest at 12 knots, 8 to 12 knots, so quite mild at the moment, but still very cold. Green Cape's got southwest at 15 knots, but Gabo Island, a bit further south at the entrance to Bass Strait, southwesterly at 22 knots, gusting 27. So I think as the further the fleet gets south, the heavier the breeze will get. But that's where the bulk of the fleet are, and they're obviously the smaller boats are there right back to Jervis Bay and even further north than that.
Peter, looking at some of those boats, what about the two-handers? One boat we have been keeping an eye on is Mistral, who's going for a fourth straight double-handed victory. How are they travelling at the moment with these conditions, and what chance are they, those smaller boats between 30 and 40, of coming through to take the overall honours? What needs to happen?
Well, the leading two-hander is BNC Mynet Lyon from New Caledonia. They've got 500 miles to go, so they've only done about 120 miles. Mistral is second. She's only 0.7 of a mile behind BNC. It's hard to know, but I would think the weather forecast, if it remains as it is still going to get these lower rating boats home. Now, whether it's a two-hander or not, or whether it's a fully crewed small boat like Bacchanal or some boat like that, I don't know. But at the moment, I think it's really too early to give any firm prediction on who's going to win on handicap. At the moment, the big boats are leading with V70, Celestial V70 winning, but BNC and Mistral and Avalanche are the top three on line honours for the double-handers.
Yes, so they need those big boats to be slowed down,
yeah,
and then the little boats that get blown home.
Well, there's going to be a transition between the sou'wester and perhaps an easterly nor'easter, and if that's a slow transition for the big boys, but a quick transition for the smaller boats, that will be certainly an advantage to the smaller boats.
Well, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia and also the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania, the finishing club, are very proud to have Tas Ports as a sponsor of this event. Well, we mentioned, Peter, we're well rugged up with our fleecy-lined Rolex CYC jackets, but the temperature is about 11 degrees here in Hobart. It feels like 4. But would you believe there was some snow on Mount Wellington on Christmas Day?
Well, Gordon,
shame you weren't there.
I've got shorts on. You've got to toughen up. That's, it's a mild day
I've
down
got
here.
thermals. I've got thermals under my long pads. And you've got shorts on. I've just looked. The goosebumps are showing, Peter. But what about this?
Incredible, isn't it? Incredible.
Build your own snowman on top of Mount Wellington. Beautiful. Okay, well, let's now set the scene with Evie Hazeldine. Evie's an Olympic campaigner. She was down here last year, thoroughly enjoying herself. But set the scene out on the dock here at Kings Pier, Evie.
Thanks, Gordon. It's certainly a little bit cooler than it was yesterday for the start in Sydney, but we're down here at Constitution Dock. Behind me, the Race Village, where you can come with your family to enjoy the merchandise from Helly Hansen, something to drink from Devil's Bar, or something to eat from plenty of food that we've got here while you watch the big screen.
Fantastic. And tell me about your Olympic campaign. How's that going? You competed in Paris at the last Olympic Games with Olivia Price.
Yeah.
How's that all panning out? Looking forward to Los Angeles.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to a big international European season next year. Very grateful to have had Olivia, who not only taught me some commentary skills, but also Olympic campaigning skills after Paris last year.
Okay, Evie, well, we'll look forward to your reports and also speaking to the various crews as they come on board. But Peter, we're now going to look at a very famous boat, Kathleen Gillette, which partook in the first Rolex Sydney Hobart. It wasn't Rolex in those days, 1945. This is the 80th edition of the race, but Kathleen Gillette normally sits in the Maritime Museum in Sydney, made a special appearance at the Cruising Yacht Club.
I'm here aboard the Kathleen Gillette, which raced in the very first Sydney to Hobart in 1945. It's very different to the technology of the boats that we see racing the Hobart today. The boat was built between 1933 and to 1939 in Sydney, but it was actually designed by a Norwegian naval architect in 1897. It was built for Jack Earl, who named it after his wife. Portrait of her still is below deck on the boat now. Jack did his last voyage on this boat when he was 85. Clearly it is definitely a very different design to what we see below deck today.
I don't think people today really appreciate just what was done, and even if you take Jack Earl's time and then take it forward 150 years prior to that with Cook and so forth, to a degree what he was doing was the same sort of thing that Cook was doing as far as navigation was concerned, a little bit of the unknown, even though charts were probably more accurate. So they were really the pioneers, and of course they were the pioneers of the Sydney Hobart Race, 1945. 80 years later, or 81 years later, here we are with nothing like this competing in the race. Even though there's some pretty old boats, they don't go back to the basics that this boat has.
Well, the other interesting thing, Peter, is that cloth was very scarce after World War II, so they weren't able to carry spinnakers. They could pole out their headsails in that first race.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We saw Lindsay May there, 50 consecutive Sydney Hobart races. You know what he did on Christmas Day? He dressed up as Santa Claus and visited all the overseas boats at the CYC and presented them with some prizes. So there you go. Good on you, Lindsay, old Santa Claus. One of the great characters. But yes, getting back to Kathleen Gillette and Jack Earl, Jack, one of the founding fathers of the race, how it all began was that Jack was a member of the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. They were having a meeting in mid-year, June of 1945. The war was winding down. So they invited a British officer who was at Garden Island, stationed at Garden Island, to come and talk to that gathering about cruising and racing in England, of ocean racing, and that was Captain John Illingworth. And he came to that meeting and he was talking to these guys, and Jack Earl and a few of them said, look, we're cruising to Hobart, leaving around Christmas time. Would you like to come with us? And Illingworth said, no, I'm not going to come with you on a cruise. I'm going to come with you if you make it a race. And that's how it all began. Simple as that. And they said, well, that's a good idea. And here we are, some 80 years later, it all happened. And look what we've got today, 130 plus boats racing. And Jack Earl's grandson, Matt Tomaszewski, is sailing on Love and War. Now that's today in this race. So Matt's out there bashing away in Bass Strait, or getting towards Bass Strait,
well, that's
with my daughter.
Yes, that's right. That's fascinating. And Ben Hawke, our ace producer, whose credits include 60 Minutes, Foreign Correspondent, Australian Story.
There he is. Give us a smile, Ben.
He's also Evie's babysitter, and he also gets the coffee for us as well. He's very versatile. But I don't know whether Ben knows, or whether you know, that when those Japanese mini-subs came into Sydney Harbour during the Second World War, one of them fired a torpedo and sunk HMAS Cataball. And the torpedo went underneath Kathleen Gillette. I know that because Jack Earl was on the boat at the time and he felt the boat lift. So I bet you didn't know that, Peter Shipway.
Gordon, where are you getting these stories? This is another Merv Davies story. Did the mast burn before or after that? Torpedo.
It's in the archives of Offshore Magazine.
It can't be wrong then.
And the other fascinating focus before the race was whether Palm Beach 11, the former Wild Oats 11, would make it to the start line. She had only 3 sails, a multi-million-dollar campaign for Palm Beach 11. Let's now hear from Lisa Darmanin, who caught up with Mark Richards at the Woolwich Pier.
What does it mean to have the boat back in the water?
It's amazing. Look, it's been an unbelievable 3 months. I don't think many other teams could have done this.
Talk us through some of the innovation, obviously, with the seafoils and what has been happening here.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that's been happening. It's more like what hasn't been happening. We've got a new keel and bowl wind dagger boards, so we're really hoping just with those 2 modifications. And then obviously the C-foils and T-foils. Really, I can't see any reason why it shouldn't work.
You've won the race record multiple times. Do you think with the new modifications that you'd be able to do it again?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think any one of these boats could break the record. Yeah, I think we'll be definitely one to be looking out for.
It's all been happening behind closed doors in the shed, but I mean, how much is it coming down to the wire for you guys?
But yeah, we're confident we can, as long as nothing silly goes wrong, that we'll be there on Boxing Day.
And you've got so much legacy within the team. How does it feel to kind of get everyone back together?
Yeah, look, it's a big deal. Everyone has been unanimously behind it. This is the DNA of our company: development, evolution, technology and performance. The form that she's now in is really exciting. Not new technology, but it's the first time it's been done in a boat like this.
Yes, and where are they situated at the moment, Peter? Palm Beach 11.
Palm Beach 11 on line honours, they are in 5th place behind Masterlock, Comanche, Law Connect, Scallywag and Lucky. They've got 392 miles to go and they're 6 miles east of Gobo Island, so just about to enter Bass Strait.
So those foils and all of those innovation designed more for downwind conditions where they could really lift out of the water, but of course they're bashing into the wind at the moment, so maybe a blessing in disguise.
Well, they didn't use the foils. They took the foils out when they looked at the weather forecast after all that work that went into designing them, and you can see what dramatic difference they make to that boat. It gives the lift out of the water downwind, so they realise they're going to be bashing away for 48 hours or so they took the foils out. They put plugs in the hull to prevent any water ingressing and also on the deck. So no foils this time, so we really haven't seen the foils come into play. The keel is deeper and the bulb is bigger, but they're struggling upwind. We always knew they would because they're a narrower boat. Masterlock, Comanche and Law Connect, big wide boats that thrive on righting moment, which is the ability to stand upright in a breeze. Their strength is upwind. Palm Beach 11's strength will be downwind, and I don't think they're going to get too much of that, and they're giving away now. They're behind the leaders. They're almost 30 miles behind Masterlock, Comanche. It's a lot to make up.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the tracker. We might go back to where the leaders are. We've had a look at the main bulk of the fleet. If we could go back to those leaders, there they are, and you can see Palm Beach 11 there has entered Bass Strait. Celestial V70, 30 feet shorter, doing a fantastic job at the moment, Peter. And what about Lucky, the American?
Yeah, really strong
Ryanair
crew.
From the New York Yacht Club. Lucky, the 88-footer.
Brad Butterworth aboard, the top New Zealand yachtsman. He's won the America's Cup, he's won the Admiral's Cup, he's won the America's Cup Whitbread Round the World race. A terrific crew on this boat. They'll be pushing hard. Handicap right in touch there for them. They're about 4th on handicap at the moment. But if we go down, I think if we can move the screen towards Tasmania, we will see where Comanche was when they broke the race record. I don't know whether we can get that up or not, but they would be almost down to the top end of Tasmania, I think. We can see a red there. Keep going, and we'll see it. Keep going. We should see something red appear somewhere.
Those arrows are the wind direction too.
Yeah.
So they're bashing into it at the moment.
Yeah. Can we
there
see?
We are.
Yeah,
there's Comanche.
Yeah, there's Comanche, well to seaward off the northeast tip of Tasmania. So that where she was at this time in the race when she broke the race record, and she finished in about 10:15 tonight. Tasmanian time, so there's no way that these boats are going to break the race record. But we might just have a look at some of the handicap situation, but I must warn you, we're a long way out. They've got 400 to 500 miles to go, so it really doesn't mean much, but just for the people that are following the race and might have friends and relatives on board. On handicap, overall, on the IRC handicap, it's Celestial V70, Lucky, and then Masterlock, Comanche, and then Law Connect, then URM. That's the top 5. Then on PHS, which is the performance handicap, these are boats that are not rated under IRC. IRC comes into play with a computer rating, but this is the performance handicap rating. They cannot win the overall Tattersall Cup. Alethea from Germany is leading. Then Wild Oats, a 2-time winner, original Wild Oats for Bob Oatley. She's a 43-footer, she's 2nd. And Maritimo 100, the beautiful 100 owned by Bill Barry Cotter. She is 3rd at the moment. So that's the list of PHS. Then the IRC Corinthian, which is Corinthian sailors, non-professional, amateur sailors. MRV leads that. Damien King from Victoria. She's the beautiful Freres 66. V5 from New Zealand, representing the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. I must apologise because yesterday on the broadcast I called it the Royal New Zealand Yacht Club. And it's the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron.
I'm sure you were corrected by Peter Montgomery. Yeah.
No, the Commodore rang me up and said, how dare you? No, he didn't. Hello to you, David, if you're watching. David Blakey, the Commodore there. I do apologise. So they're the leaders on the Corinthian. And then in the double-handed, on line honours for double-handed, BNC Leon is leading from Mistral and Avalanche. And then on double-handed IRC, BNC Leon leads from Mistral and Verite.
Next time we'll bring up these tables in our next report. board. But a reminder that we're here each day right through to New Year's Eve at 10 a.m. in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
But Gordon, all this information is available on the website.
Keep up to date with all the action of the 2025 Rolex Sydney Hobart with live updates from the Hobart Race Village. Watch the official CYCA TV YouTube channel from 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. daily. Coverage starts Saturday the 27th of December. Watch the live finish for line honours from the River Derwent, plus all the excitement of the Hobart Village with exclusive content as it happens. Yes, it is very much seat of the pants television, Peter, but it's great to be here in Hobart at the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race Village. And behind us at the moment we have Kings Pier. The actual Lion Honours winner, Peter, will just berth right behind us here, only literally 10 metres away, and we'll be covering that live finish. It looks like a daylight finish at the moment, in your estimation, or?
I don't know. I think probably late tomorrow night, early the day after morning. I think it might be a dark finish.
Well, you do love those early mornings.
I do,
don't you?
yeah.
Yes.
I keep going. Going.
But,
bit unlike yourself. I'll do it solo if you're not here, if you're sleeping. No, it's hard to know because they've still got a fair way to go.
Well, obviously. Peter, just recapping then, we've gone through our leaders. It's Masterlock Comanche leading the way. Remember, they were forced to retire last year at midnight after some mainsail damage. Law Connect then was left on its own as far as the 100-footers were concerned. And Celestial V70, the Commodore of the CYC, Sam Haynes, is leading overall on handicap. But don't write off those little boats, particularly if the bigger boats are slowed down in these tough conditions, and then later in the race the little boats are brought home in a nice howling southerly. Northerly, I should say.
Yeah, well, Masterlock, 370 miles to go. She's about 5 miles ahead of Law Connect at the moment.
Peter, we'll be back at 4 o'clock this afternoon, but we're going to leave you on a very special note, because when 15 nominated boats from the Cruising Yacht Club were off Bondi, they were able to pay tribute to the 15 victims of that terrible tragedy that occurred on December 14, the day that changed Australia forever.